Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. Scrooge and Marley were partners for I don't know how many years. But he's a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone was Scrooge. A squeezing, retching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. And once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting-house, a grim, cheerless place if ever there was one. The door of Scrooge's counting-house was open that he might keep an eye upon his clerk, Bob Cratchit, who in a cold and dismal little cell beyond worked at his ledgers.
19, 20, 21, 22... Merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. 23, 26, 29, 9, carry 2, Christmas Day. 17, 13, 17, 7.
Bob Cratchit.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Scrooge?
Stop that infernal caterwauling.
Yes, sir. 9, 15, 17...
Singing their idiotic Christmas carols at my very door. Go on, get away from my door. Go somewhere else and bellow your blasted carols, or I'll give ya...
Why, Governor? It's an old custom at Christmas time, you know.
Yes, and I don't want any of your old customs. Take your fellow fools and go away. Christmas. Blah.
Right, sir. Merry Christmas anyways, sir.
Ah. Now, you get that letter from Higgins and Blackthorn, Cratchit, and then I want you to finish posting this ledger. And after that, you can pop over to Partigill's and tell Abraham Partigill you've come after the 17 shillings and 6pence he's owed me since Michaelmas, and tell him I shall have a constable over there if he doesn't pay up at once.
Mr. Parthigill's wife has been ill, don't you know?
Oh, and what do I care about his wife? I want my 17 and 6.
I just thought, it being Christmas, sir.
Christmas? Christmas? You mention that word to me once more, Bob Cratchit, and I'll... Hey, you there. Bob Cratchit, what are you doing there?
Oh, geez, I'm only putting a little bit more coal on the fire, Mr. Scrooge. Seeing it's so cold in there, don't you know?
You put that coal back in the scuttle. A fire? A fire indeed. I can tell you, if you use coal at that rate, you and I will soon be parting company, Bob Cratchit. You understand that? There's many young fellows like your situation, you know.
I'm sorry, sir. My fingers were getting a little stiff with the cold.
Then put on your mittens. There's someone at the door. Go on. See who it is.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I should like to see the head of the firm, if I may.
Ah, very good, sir.
What is it?
A gentleman to see you, Mr. Scrooge.
Huh?
Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Marley's been dead these 7 years tonight. I'm Scrooge.
Well, now, Mr. Scrooge, at this season of the year, it's only fitting that we who are most fortunate should raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. You may not believe it, sir, but many thousands are now in want of common necessity. And hundreds of thousands are in want of the simplest comforts.
Are there no prisons?
Well, there are plenty of prisons, sir.
In the workhouses? They're still in operation, I trust.
I wish I could say they are not, but they are, sir.
The treadmill and the poor are in full vigor, then?
Both very busy, sir.
Ah, I'm glad to hear that. I was afraid from what you said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course.
No, sir. All these institutions that you mention are flourishing, but it's nevertheless true that some additional provision for the poor and destitute must be made. Few of us upon change are endeavoring to raise such a fund, you see, and... what shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
Oh, I see. You wish to be anonymous, sir?
I wish to be left alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas time. I can't afford to help make a lot of idle people merry. I help to support the establishment that take care of the poor. They cost enough. Let those who are badly off go there.
Many can't go there, sir. And many would rather die.
Then, my advice to them is to do so and decrease the surplus population. Besides, I've only your word for it that this is so.
It is the truth, Mr. Scrooge.
Well, so be it then. It's not my business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon, sir.
I quite understand, Mr. Scrooge. Good afternoon.
Cratchit,
Yes, sir.
show this gentleman out.
This way, sir, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Cratchit,
Yes, sir.
close the door.
$24, $31, 1, carry 3, a new scarlet tippet for Tiny Tim, a comb for Martha, 33, 3 and carry 3, a hair ribbon for Belinda, 4, 7, 12, 15.
Cratchit,
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
I suppose you want the entire Christmas day away from this establishment?
Yeah, you betcha, if it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient. It's not fair either. But I suppose I can't do anything about it.
It's only once a year, don't you know?
Once a year? Once a year indeed. A fine excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose there's no good talking. You must have the whole day. Well, see that you're here all the earlier the next morning, you understand?
Oh, I will, sir. I will indeed. Good night, sir, and Merry Christmas.
Bah!
The office was closed in a twinkling, and Bob Cratchit, with the long ends of his white comforter dangling below his waist, for he boasted no greatcoat, went down a slide-on Cornhill 20 times in honour of it being Christmas Eve, and then ran home to Camden Town as hard as he could pelt to play with his family at Blindman's Buff. Scrooge, on the other hand, took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, having read all the newspapers and spent the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went to his dismal house. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked it. The yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew its every stone, had to grope with his hands through the fog and frost to find the door. Scrooge walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa, nobody under the bed, nobody in the closet. Closed the door. He locked himself in, he double-locked himself in, and took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown and slippers, and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel.
Marley. I could have sworn I saw old... Ah, humbug. Marley's been dead these 7 years. Humbug. All humbug. What I need is a good night's... What? What's that? Someone's in the wine cellar, but the door's locked. And double-locked. Something is coming. Something is coming closer. Outside my door. Bah! I won't believe it. It's humbug still.
Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge.
Marley. Oh no. What do you want with me?
I want much of you, Ebenezer.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Oh ho, you're very particular for a ghost. All right then. Who are ya?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Jacob Marley? But you're dead. You died 7 years ago.
7 years ago, this very night.
But...
What's wrong, Ebenezer? Don't you believe in me?
I do not.
Do you doubt your senses, Ebenezer?
Yes. Yes, because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You can't be a ghost. You may be an undigested bit of beef, or a blot of mustard, or a crumb of cheese, a fragment of undone potato. There may be more gravy than grave about you. Whatever you are, humbug, I tell you. Humbug. I do believe in you. You are a ghost, Jacob.
Thank you.
But why? Why do you walk the earth, Jacob? Why do you come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men, travel far and wide, to witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on this earth, and turned into happiness.
But tell me, Jacob, what is that chain you wear around you?
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, and yard by yard, by my own free will. Is it patterned strange to you, Ebenezer?
Cash boxes, keys and paddocks, ledgers and purses.
Yours was heavy and as long as this, 7 years ago. You have labored on it since, Ebenezer.
Oh, Jacob, speak comfort to me. Jacob.
Comfort I have none to give. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger. Weary journeys lie before me.
You travel fast?
Yes, Ebenezer, on the wings of the wind.
7 years dead and traveling all the time.
7 years, Ebenezer. 7 years of remorse. Ebenezer, do you know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life's opportunities missed?
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. Charity, mercy, benevolence, they were all my business. The business of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business.
Jacob, don't take on so now. Jacob.
Listen to me, Ebenezer.
I'll listen to you, Jacob. Go on, Jacob. Now, speak to me, but don't be so flowery.
Ebenezer, I am here to warn you that you have yet a chance of hope of escaping my fate. Do you hear that, Ebenezer?
Yes, Jacob. Yes, you always were a good friend to me, Jacob. Thanks, Jacob, but go on. Go on, go on, go on! How shall I escape? Oh, I'm afraid, Jacob.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the only chance of hope, Jacob?
It is your only chance and hope.
Well, then I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow, when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over? Jacob?
Ebenezer, look at that. For your own sake. You remember what has passed between us? Remember, when the bell tolls 1, look for the first spirit.
Marley. Jacob Marley.